of grandiosity. She was a bit of a snob, and she never offered me any money to take care of Claude. I paid for him for about 3 years, but she did give me 3 pieces of jewelry, of Pablo Picasso's jewelry. And so in any event, she didn't like Jacqueline Roche, who was a potter's daughter. Jacqueline was very down to earth, and it was oil and water. So Francoise didn't come to see Picasso's body because she knew she wasn't welcome. He died in a place called the Chateau de Vauvenargues. Did you ever hear of that, any of you? It's a medieval castle outside of Aix. You've heard of Aix-en-Provence. And so we flew there, and now we don't know where the body is. So I told them, well, why don't we go in the graveyard? It was a medieval castle around with a moat surrounding it with graves in it, and there were mounds of dirt by the graves. And I said, well, if you feel the dirt, this is in the moonlight, the most moist dirt will be his grave. This seemed logical. They're all doing this, which is, of course, totally ridiculous. So we're all feeling the dirt. Finally, Paloma goes into X and gets from a dry cleaner's, these cardboard things, and she writes in crayon to our Father, whom we have loved and will love forever. And then she says, now what do I do with it? They're asking me like I'm the leader. I said, put it on a grave. She said, which one? I said, anyone. It doesn't matter. He's dead. So they just pick a grave. After we have dirt in our hands and dirty hands. So we all hold hands by this mythologist's grave. We don't know who's going in it. And we say the Lord's Prayer. And Claude says, will you be my wife? And I say, of course. And when we left Vauvenargues, I told the press, I thought, they're really going to write this up. This is history. This note, the family, I yelled out the window. Nobody ever knew but you guys about the note and what we did, or that we were even there. When Paloma wrote it up in her book, she said a limousine took them. There was no limousine. We were in a battered jalopy. We were not in a limousine. We were not welcome. We had to sneak in and sneak out because, Claude and Paloma were bastards, literally. So a year after this, is it debacle or this, my engagement, Francoise, Claude's mother, sues the French government. She had studied to be a lawyer, but she failed the bar, but she was very shrewd with the law. So she won her case against the French government because Napoleon was a playboy. He was a dirty old man, okay? This guy had babies around the world, and he was cheap. He didn't want to pay for them, so he created a law, and it was called the Napoleonic Code, which said that illegitimate children, bastards, could not inherit if there were no will. So Francoise beat Napoleon at his own game, and she established what's called jurisprudence, which is she took the law. She said she gave the finger to Napoleon. She changed the law, and she gave $1 million to her children, who are now billionaires today, all because of Francois' courage and audacity and unwillingness to give up, which is kind of my story. I like to think, presently I'll tell you right now, I'm suing her. And she's 96 and wished me well. And I'll tell you, you'll figure out why later. So, but she had some wonderful traits. And the one wonderful one was that she was defiant and she didn't allow men to, dictate her identity. So in any event, she wins the lawsuit. Now she buys me a wedding dress. She was only nice to me until the end. And so I have a pink from Karl Lagerfeld. Any of you remember him? Chez Chloe. Beautiful encrusted diamonds. And after a year, it's getting dusty. So now Claude and I have an apartment in Paris, Rue de Bac and Saint-Germain. We have 11 rooms there. Then we get one in New York on the 36th floor next to Calvin Klein. And I go back to see our apartment, and a man my agent says a director wants to see you for a film. It's called Stepford Wives. And I said, oh, I'll meet with him, but I'm not auditioning. I didn't have to audition, and I got hired on the spot. Did you want to get that for me? And here it is. We can pass it around.
That was
And I was
creepy.
booked. And I filmed it in a place called Westport, Connecticut. Now, Bill's going to tell us what a Stepford wife is. What is it?
A Stepford wife is, these men had these wives, and they wanted perfect wives, so they had their wives put away, and these Stepford wives were basically robots.
Why were the wives perfect?
They did everything.
Because
the man wanted
actually,
them to do.
one was just as, they were all alike.
What did you say? It louder.
I said they would do anything that the man wanted them to do.
Right.
They were perfect, you know.
How did they become robots?
I don't know. I read the book a long time ago, but I don't remember how they.
They
became.
were murdered by their husbands who wanted servants and to turn them into slaves. That's what a Stepford wife was. And I was in the movie, and I was in Claude's life. I was supporting Claude, and when we went to buy a coat, I remember it was a Jean Patou. I think it was $300, and I was paying for it, but I wasn't allowed to buy it till he looked at it with my own money. And I agreed to this. That's who I was. Married, right. This is yours truly, in the movie and in life. Pass it. So, I filmed the movie, and he didn't like it because he always wanted to be a director, and he was jealous. And so I go back to Paris, and now he writes me 50 love letters, which are part of my lawsuit with Francoise. And I'm going to take care of you, yada, yada, yada. And so my mother calls from Philadelphia and says, your father tried to commit suicide. And I said, Claude, I have to know when we're getting married. And he didn't answer me. And he put his fist in the wall and kicked our dog and kicked me. And I said, well, I'm leaving you. And I got on the first plane. And then we stopped at the bank. I said, but I need this $3,000 back that I had lent you. He went to the bank, he picked it up, and he said, he threw it at me. He said, here, shove it up your private parts, which I won't use that four-letter word. You know it too well. So I go back to our apartment, and I'm crying, and my agent calls and says, a director wants to see you for a movie called The Fan Club. So Bridget Bardot and Raquel Welch and Sophia Loren had turned down the script because there was nudity. And I thought, well, I'll do I need a job. I needed to forget. So I tested for the film. They flew me to Hollywood, and an agent said, if you want to be an actress, you have to move here. So now I had the third apartment. I had an apartment in Hollywood, one in Paris, and one in New York. So I don't know where this fits. I left out two important points. You were supposed to help me with this, Chris. And let me backtrack. When Claude first came to my apartment, and he was there a few months, he went to visit his mother in Neuilly and didn't invite me. And I was angry because I said to him, I'm not your hotel. So I began to date, and I dated a man named Mike Nichols. Anybody remember him? Yeah, and director.
Elaine May and Mike Nichols.
Right. And what is your favorite Mike Nichols film?
Oh, I don't know.
What is mine, Chris? I told you.
I don't know.
Charlie Wilson's War is mine. The Graduate is what he's known for.
It used to be Mike
Oh, I
Nichols
like
and,
The Graduate.
and Elaine May.
Elaine May and Mike Nichols. Anyway, we got on, and he married who? Diane Sawyer. He was a very nice man. So we went out a few times. We met at Saturday Night Live backstage, or with Buck Henry, actually. And Mike listened to me when I talked, quite unlike a lot of men. He made me feel appreciated. So he said one night, I'm going to go to Jacqueline Onassa's anniversary to Aristotle, Ari, would you like to come? And I said, of course. So I accepted. And as his limousine pulled up, who should come back but Claude from Paris? He didn't tell me, and I said, well, I'm not giving this up for you. This is not fair, but you're welcome to the bedroom. We weren't engaged. So he went in the bedroom and he read Celine's Death on the Installment Plan. I don't know if any of you are readers, but that's kind of little irony there. So there's a picture here somewhere of me with Life magazine.
Is it?
Yeah, do you want to, can you make it? Oh, look how agile you are. My God, you're spring chicken here. So here is Jackie. This is Mike and me, and there's Ari, and that's from Life magazine. So I went and we made it.